All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this, and I had to check this one out by Benny. He said Vladimir Putin assassination attempt right now, said that Ukraine launches massive drone attack on Putin helicopter, which means they said that Putin almost lost his life. And that's the reason why, like I said, President Trump say Russia and Ukraine will begin a ceasefire. He literally had just said that the other day, you know what I'm saying, because he was on a call for 2 hours. So I definitely want to get into this video here by Benny because he had like more details about this whole thing. But this is the reason why President Trump said he want peace. That's why he bring in these world leaders to have these conversations and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? To try to make everywhere a good place. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive straight into this. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. Shout out to everybody who always watches the entire video because it definitely helps get the video out there. And hitting that like button as well. So like I said, salute to all of you for that. I really, really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's check this out by Benny. Because like I said, he has more like information and stuff that came out about this whole situation. So let's go.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. I think I speak for all of us here in the West and in America when I say please don't let dumb jackass globalists in Ukraine drag us all into World War III. We don't want nuclear war with Russia or with China or with Pakistan, India, or with any Arab country. We want peace, and President Trump is probably seconds away from winning the Nobel Peace Prize because he is doing everything in his power to de-escalate conflict across the globe. This was the last time we saw President Trump with Vladimir Zelensky inside of the Vatican, which is now offered to host peace negotiations with Ukraine and with Russia. This is a spectacular thing to see. President Trump saying that Russia has agreed to a ceasefire with Ukraine, and the gears are at the very least moving towards an end of the war, except they nearly just killed Putin a few seconds ago. This breaking within the last couple of minutes, Putin's helicopter fended off drone attack, Russian leader's recent visit to the Kursk region. It's, of course, one of those regions of Ukraine that Russia just conquered, drew fire from Ukrainian UAVs. It emerges. Wow. Okay, what's going on here? Let's go ahead and check from the Telegraph. Vladimir Putin's helicopter was forced to shoot down drones while the Russian president was aboard, a Moscow official said on Sunday. This would certainly not be the first time that a drone has been used to attack Russians. Drone attacks are quite frequent throughout Russia, all the way to Moscow. These drones, of course, are piloted and flown from Ukraine. This is escalatory. And of course, the killing of Vladimir Putin would be escalatory as well. Something we don't want to see is further escalation. We want to see de-escalation in the region. These drones are obviously provided by the United States of America.
That's why President Trump said he want peace. He don't want like this type of stuff to happen. That's why he brings Zelensky in, even though it seemed like Zelensky he was just being hard-headed, didn't want to listen, thought he knew everything, was frowning and all type of stuff. But this is what President Trump is talking about, that he wants to have peace.
And most likely flown with our permission. So it begs the question, who's in charge here? Air Defense Commander Major General Yuri Dashkin told state television that Putin's aircraft was involved in an air defense battle after finding itself in the middle of an unprecedented Ukrainian drone assault. I'll play that clip in just a second.
Ukrainian.
The incident was said to have happened last week when the Russian leader was on tour of the Kursk region, part of the Ukraine previously occupied. During the period when the president was working in the Kursk region, the enemy launched an unprecedented drone attack with unmanned vehicles. Maybe this is why there was a stall in the peace negotiations, not sure. He added, we simultaneously conducted air defense battle to ensure the safety of the president and helicopters. Flight in the air, Russian forces destroyed several Ukrainian drones in operation. The task was accomplished. The attack of the enemy drones was repelled, and all air targets were hit. Ukraine has not responded to the claims. If verified, the timing of the drone attack would suggest Ukrainian forces had advanced intelligence about Putin's visit to the war zone. The Kremlin did not publicly disclose the trip until after Putin had left.
There's so much stuff going on. This is crazy.
Putin met with volunteers wearing a smart suit. Smart suit. Is that what this is? I don't know. Putin met with volunteers, municipal leaders, acting governors during the visit. He also inspected construction of a nuclear power plant, the first in the region. On his visit to a command post in Kursk in March, he wore an olive green military fatigues. Putin was believed to be traveling in an Mi-17 helicopter, evolution of the Soviet-era Mi-8. The Mi-17 is 82 feet long, can carry 30 passengers, big old helicopter, 4 tons of cargo. It's equipped with defensive systems, including infrared jammers, flare dispensers, and armored plating around critical components designed to counter heat-seeking missiles and small arm fire. However, the helicopter's defense systems are not normally powerful enough against coordinated drone attacks. Of course, these have been used very effectively in the Ukraine war by both sides, both Russia with drones provided by China and flown by China, and then Ukraine with drones provided by America and flown conceivably by Americans. Ukraine is just like a cutout proxy state for the CIA at this point. Ukrainian forces launched significant ground incursion into Kursk August 2024, seized territory before Russian counteroffensive pushed them back months later. Following the shock incursion, Putin poured in tens of thousands of Russian troops. North Korean deployment. Okay, so this is where the North Koreans were deployed. The chief of general of Russia's armed forces said his forces had pushed Ukrainians out of the territory, fighting shoulder to shoulder with North Koreans, unique here. Ukraine has increasingly used drones to strike deep inside of Russia, including oil refinery, military airfields, and government facilities. That's a matter of fact. The Russian air defense systems faced increasing pressure. Ukraine expands its drone operations.
This is just crazy, man.
Hit the Kremlin, in fact. There was a large drone that exploded inside of the Kremlin. The frequency and scale of the Ukrainian strikes on Russian territory have grown significantly since the conflict's early months. In 2023, Ukrainian drones damaged the Kremlin Senate Palace, unprecedented track, the symbol of Russian statehood, sent shockwaves well beyond Moscow. Helicopter attack would mark one of the most direct attempts on Putin's life. Unlike Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, who frequently visits the front line, Putin largely avoided combat zones. Okay, so let's begin here.
You can see they tried to take Putin out right there. And it's like this is what I'm saying. For like I said before, like stuff like this has to stop because you don't want to see nothing like this. That they shooting drones up there at the helicopter, like you don't want to see that type of stuff. But yet you got people that just hard-headed to feel like they can do whatever they want. But like I said, I'm just glad that we have President Trump, somebody who's not scared to say, "Hey, let's sit down, let's talk about this, let's have a ceasefire, let's do this." So it'll be peaceful on all sides. Because like I said, this is what we're trying to avoid, is this crap right here.
First, by showing you the evidence of this
данной
attack.
атаки в Курской области работал президент России.
Совершенно верно. В период времени, когда президент работал в Курской области, противник начал беспрецедентную атаку с беспилотно-летательными аппаратами. Группировкой ПВО в данном районе было уничтожено 46 беспилотно-летательных средств самолетного типа. Обращаю внимание, что интенсивность атаки во время пролета борта Верховного Главнокомандующего на территории Курской области значительно возросла. Поэтому мы одновременно вели противовоздушный бой и обеспечили безопасность в воздухе пролета вертолета президента. Задача была выполнена. Атака беспилотников противника.
So he says that they shot down 46 drones.
Wow.
And
think about it. They shot down 46 drones. How many drones that tried to take out Vladimir Putin? My God. 46 drones.
That is quite a drone barrage.
It is.
To launch.
That's crazy.
This is the breaking news all across my timeline right now.
And you can see breaking Ukraine. And you see Zelensky, and like I said before, Zelensky didn't want to even listen to President Trump. He had an attitude and everything. President Trump had to kick him out the White House. And he just had that attitude. We covered the video. So even say, breaking, Ukraine just tried to assassinate President Putin via a drone attack, but failed while Putin was visiting Kursk, Russia says.
Everybody is citing this report. Ukraine just tried to assassinate Putin. Peace talks won't be possible now. It's time to cut ties with Sniffy the Clown in Ukraine. They don't want peace. Ukraine just tried to assassinate Putin, losing a helicopter by drone attack failed.
Everybody knows Zelensky. Zelensky done messed up. Like I said, he was the main one that didn't want to listen. And now you got people saying that Zelensky done messed up big time. So, like, it's hard to have peace talks when you got Zelensky doing crap like this.
Up big time. Ukraine reportedly tried to assassinate Putin in the drone strike on a helicopter. So what's to be made of this? Well, Ukraine, according to all of our sources, and we've interviewed military experts and people who know the region really well. I don't pretend to be one of them. They've said that Vladimir Putin can't operate these kind of sophisticated barrages and these kind of sophisticated systems without the help and assistance of the American military. Again, the CIA, according to the New York Times, has 14 different stations throughout Ukraine and is effectively running the entire war. Remember how Elon Musk was able to shut down attacks on Russia's Black Sea fleet by turning off Starlink because he didn't want to start World War III? And that's how ingrained America, just by flipping a switch, America can just turn off Ukraine's military. So this is all across social media. Now, I want to state that this certainly wouldn't be the first time that Russian media has lied about this, right? There's been major reports about Putin body doubles, Putin's health. It's extremely mysterious. Russia and the way that the media works is obviously has a total state-run element to it, same as in Ukraine. And so you're never quite sure what if what you're seeing is real. This may be a completely fake story, right? The Kremlin has had to put down rumors, right, that Putin was dying or that he was using body doubles because his health was so degraded. Putin has experienced any health issues. Typically, they don't comment, but this has been, Putin battling cancer and Parkinson's, according to leaked email. These are the kind of reports from 2022 that were running rampant in the West. Who the hell knows, right? But
yeah, that's wild.
All that I know is clearly Vladimir Putin is alive, speaking to Donald Trump, and is, I guess, in some manner negotiating. And so we hope that this doesn't derail everything, as we have said a million times before. But I will state it again. I don't care about Russia, and I don't care about Ukraine.
Exactly.
That's a matter of fact. I could give a damn, honestly. It's a long ways away, and I really just don't want us to get dragged into war, into nuclear.
Right. That was I was saying, because I don't care about Ukraine, Russia either. Like I said, I don't want to, the same way Benny's saying, I don't want us to get dragged into war and stuff, because like I said, if you see a little bit of this, it say what President Trump said. He said, I just completed my 2-hour call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. I believe it went very well. Russia and Ukraine would immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire, more importantly, an end to the war. The conditions for that will be negotiated between the two parties, as it can only be because they know details of the negotiation that nobody else will be aware of. The tone and spirit of the conversation were excellent. If it wasn't, I would say so now rather than later. Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the United States when this catastrophic bloodbath is over, and I agree. There is tremendous opportunity for Russia to create massive amounts of jobs and wealth. Its potential is unlimited. Likewise, Ukraine can't be a great beneficiary on trade in the process of rebuilding the country. Negotiations between Russia and Ukraine will begin immediately. I have so informed President Vladimir and Zelensky of Ukraine, president of the European Commission. So President Trump just pretty much letting everybody know, like, hey, I just got through talking to him. The call went very well, and then turn around, something like this happened. So, like I said, you just never know, man.
War. And because we are funding to the tune of $200, $300 billion, one of the sides, that means we've picked a side. And that means we're now involved in the war. And according to all available reports, we're like practically fighting the war for Ukraine, which is insane. Nobody voted for that, and nobody in America wants that. So that's why I want it to end. I do not want further foreign entanglements, and I do not want American bodies plowed deep into the soil for foreign lands any longer. That's something that Americans have zero appetite for.
Yep.
So whether it's Israel or Ukraine, or whether it's India, Pakistan, or China, that's something nobody wants. All right? The way that Trump is doing diplomacy, Trump bringing about peace. And as we've said, an ugly peace is better than a hot war. And so that is what we firmly believe on this channel, as it still stings, obviously, the lies we were told about Iraq and Afghanistan. Those were formative lies in my youth as I was developing the political ideology that I hold today. And those lies will stay with me forever. And I will always use them as a marker, a signpost to direct my worldview towards no further foreign entanglements.
Like I said, salute to Benny. Make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel. Like I said, I had seen this came across my timeline, so I was like, I had to check this out because I knew President Trump had just said that, you know, they're supposed to be beginning a ceasefire, and then something like this happened, and they said Zelensky had something to do with it. It's like, this is crazy. But like I said, I will keep y'all up to date as more information comes out. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.